Welcome to our bonus segment. I'm Eagles insider Dave Spadaro along with Glenn Macnow, and we title this The Redskins We Most Love to Hate. Glenn's got a list of 5 current former Redskins who we just kind of loathe.
Yeah, and it was tougher.
Yeah.
It was a tougher list to make than the Cowboys list and the Giants list because the Redskins didn't resort to the stuff that those did. But I did find some.
Sure you did.
So here you go. Let's start with number 5, Albert Haynesworth. Although, again, Redskins fans probably hated him as much as we did because they got a $100 million 7-year contract that they couldn't figure out to do it. But he was a dirty player. We saw him stomp guys. We saw him pull. He was the guy, I was once told, he's the worst guy to be at the bottom of the pile with. Despised Albert Haynesworth.
I've never been at the bottom of a pile with Albert Haynesworth, but I'll tell you, I loved him with the Redskins.
What?
Because he sucked.
Oh, okay.
He cost a lot of money and he sucked.
Yeah.
Albert Haynesworth, by the time he got to Washington, a money grab. He fleeced the pockets of owner Daniel Snyder. Another just ridiculous move from the owner of the Washington Redskins. I take exception to Albert Haynesworth. I love him. He was an awful Washington Redskin.
Well, here you go. Number 2 is a guy you did love. But you loved him later.
Yeah, I
bet
loved him
you
later.
hated him when he was with
All
the
right.
Redskins. And that is the great Brian Mitchell, who came to town, and boy, we adopted him. Brian Mitchell's one of those guys that you wish had played his whole career here because he was just so much fun. But he was that guy in any sport when he's on another team, you just despise him. By the way, he scored 3 touchdowns against the Eagles over the years, including his first on a running play in what game?
The body bag game.
Body bag game when he was a rookie and he was the 3rd-string quarterback who came in. This is what Brian Mitchell said about Philadelphia when he was a Redskin. He said, I love playing there. They're loud and they're nasty, and nothing is more fun than breaking their hearts.
Yeah, and there were games where the Eagles just very obviously kicked away from him. I would tell you that I feared Brian Mitchell more than I disliked Brian Mitchell. Big mouth, big game. Loved him when he came to Philadelphia. Still love B-Mitch. But when he was a Washington Redskin, he was somebody I did not want to see the football in his hands.
All right. Number 3 was Chris Cooley, a tight end. He was another guy who hurt us over the years. He did very well against us. And he was that big mouth yammering guy. He would have been better as a Dallas Cowboy because he always had something to say. I remember there was one year that they played here and he talked about Eagle fans throwing eggs at the team bus. I don't know if that's true or not. I probably wouldn't put it past some of our fans, but he actually said, their fans are better throwers than their quarterback. They've been practicing. You see them coming in. They were leading the bus. It was good egging.
Good line.
I didn't tell you he's not clever. I just tell you he was a big mouth. He also said that when the Eagles traded McNabb to him, it would be the biggest regret Philadelphia ever had.
I agree with you in the sense that this list is not making my blood boil.
I can't do it.
Chris Cooley was a good player. Eagles didn't do a good job against him. Next on the list.
All right, next on the list is it's a tandem of D'Angelo Hall and LaRon Landry. Now, you do remember the game a couple of years ago. It's when Deshaun Jackson played here. He's coming back from a concussion. And in pregame, those guys were going like night-night and bye-bye and sleep well. Well, the Eagles got wind of it, and this was Chip's first year, came out afire. Was it the first play or it was at least the first series? First play of the game, they hit Deshaun on a bomb. Eagles end up putting up 59 because of those loudmouths. And by the way, D'Angelo Hall was a dirty player as well. As was LaRon Landry, who spit on Jason Kelce that game.
Yeah. I do agree with you, D'Angelo Hall. Hey, let's see what he's got. Let's see what he's got left.
Right.
Still there. I'm surprised, however, that Deshaun Jackson is not on this list.
Well, you could put Deshaun Jackson. You could put Donovan McNabb. I mean, there are former Eagles who went there, and then you despise them when they were there. But I respect what Deshaun Jackson did for this franchise too much to put him on.
Yeah, well, I sure am going to hate him on Saturday night.
Yeah,
so maybe we'll add him to the list for next year.
I got one more.
Go ahead. Oh, one more. Go ahead.
One more.
Okay, my bad.
Dexter Manley.
Ah, yes.
Dexter Manley, their all-time sack leader, a trash talker, a guy. Listen, he went through a lot of issues with drugs and with behavioral stuff. He got thrown out of the league and then let back in. But when he played against the Eagles, he was 2 things. He was very dangerous and he was very dirty. So Dexter Manley tops my list.
Yeah, really good pass rusher, game-changing player, and somebody the Eagles just could not handle on the football field. So that is our list. The Redskins we love to hate. Hopefully we won't have to add to that list after Saturday night's game as the Eagles get ready to put a stomp down on Washington. Glenn Macnow, Dave Spadaro, thanks for joining us.